Hello, welcome to the Pittsburgh Views YouTube channel. My name is Brian, and today we're going to take a look at my toolbox. I've been an automotive technician for the past 21 years, and I've been a Ford Senior Master Technician for the last 11. And I made a video a year ago about how much money I make as a tech, and that has the second highest views on the channel, and by far the most comments. I'm still getting comments to this day on that video, and a lot of them are about, tools, how much I spend on tools, what types of tools to buy, and so forth. So today I'm going to show you my toolbox, what's in it, and the tools I use the most frequently, and the stuff I like personally. So let's check it out. So when I got my first job as a technician at the Volkswagen Subaru store, I bought a toolbox similar to this one, only it was a Craftsman. When I walked in there, they're like, hey, where's your tools? I'm like, I didn't know I needed any tools, so that's how naive I was. So I went to Sears, and I bought the toolbox and tools. I spent a total of $800 on a toolbox and tools, just so you have an idea. I had that Craftsman box for about 2 years, and then when I started working at Pep Boys, I was working on all makes and models of cars, and I was like, oh, I'm going to need a bigger box, so I'm going to have to buy a lot more tools. So I bought a box very similar to this Matco box, and it was a scratch and dent, and I got it for a good price. I got it for $2,500, which was a little more than half at the time. A few years later, I was poking around on Craigslist and I came across this box here. Guy was asking $1,000 for it, and it had more than $1,000 worth of tools in it. So fortunately, I was the first guy that called about this box, and by the time I got to his house, it was about 20 minutes away, he had 35 phone calls about the box, but I was the first one there, and I got it for $1,000. So what I did was I reposted this yellow box and my black Matco box on Craigslist. I posted the yellow one for $2,000 and my old black one for $1,000, which I wish I would have posted it for more. I ended up selling the black one first for $1,000, so basically I traded my black one, even trade, for this yellow one, and like I said, it had about $1,000 worth of tools in it, so I made out like a bandit. This box now would be about $10,000. So I'll just go through each drawer one by one and show you what's in there and what I use the most. So in the big drawer here are pretty much all my sockets. I got the 1/4 inch drive, 3/8 drive, and 1/2 inch all mixed in here. Got my big sockets for wheel hubs and axles. I know it's kind of a mess, but I know where everything is. So I got my 1/4 inch drive deeps. I use those pretty much every day for interior work, taking engine splash shields down, things of that nature. And I got the 3/8 Matco mid deep. I use those on a daily basis as well. I got the 1/2 inch Matcos. I've had both these Matco sets for about 20 years. I use them very often. I got the short, shallow drive 1/4 inch metric. I mean, I pretty much don't use American on anything. I got the hex bits here. I use those a lot. A lot of companies been going to hex bits on a lot of fasteners, so those come in really handy. I got the 3/8 drive impact swivels, and I got the deep impacts 3/8 drive, and I got a bunch of ratchets. I got this massive snap-on 1/2 inch flex head, bunch of extensions in there, and I have all these ratchets here. I use this 3/8 Matco flex head pretty much the most, and then I probably use this Matco 1/4 inch drive second most. I got these 3/4 inch drive sockets that were in the box when I bought it. I use those pretty much for driving seals in, and I got the oil filter wrench. I use that every day as well. So a lot of people, they buy sets of tools. I usually just buy single sockets. I use this 15 and 13 a lot, so I didn't buy the whole set. That saved me quite a bit of money. Next drawer, we have all my pliers. You can never have too many pliers. I got a bunch, snap ring pliers, channel locks, strippers. These little guys for pulling out pitch pins, they're pretty sweet. Got like 5 pairs of dikes in here, bunch of needle nose pliers. Like I said, you can never have too many pliers. Next drawer, we have some of my inspection tools. We have a hood prop / brake pedal depressor, some inspection mirrors, C-clamp for pushing in pistons, rear drum brake tools, tire tread depth gauge. I use that a lot. In here we have some more inspection tools, calipers, seal puller, and some tire plugging tools. Here I got a vacuum pump. Here's that giant 3/4 inch ratchet that I don't think I've ever used. Got a quick wrench, brake flaring tool. In here we got some oil filters, cold pressure tester, got my voltmeter, I use that a lot, and a charger for my Milwaukee tools. Over here we have a lot of screwdrivers. This one is the one I probably use the most. It's a ratcheting snap-on. You can change out the bits, Phillips head, flathead, and the Torx bit. I use that all the time. I got this nice set of Matco screwdrivers. I hardly ever use it. I picked them up used, cheap. Then I just have a bunch of other miscellaneous screwdrivers in here. I got this trim tool. I use that a lot. Some of these plastic things for popping panels. Sticker scraper, use that every day. Some more random screwdrivers, but I do use these picks fairly often. I got a long set and a short set. Here's all my wrenches, open end wrenches. Got a nice set of snap-on. I picked those up used as well. And then I just got a bunch of Craftsman wrenches thrown in there for good measure. I use these wrenches more though. These are all gear type wrenches. I got the flex heads there. I got the stubbies over here. I like these twisted ones. Give you more torque. Yeah, I use the gear wrenches quite a bit. And here we have a bunch of random stuff. I got some taps, some AC tools, belt tools, fuel line tools, fuel pressure gauge, and a compression tester. Here I got a Torx bit set. That comes in pretty handy. You got the tools for taking out O2 sensors. And that's a brake piston set. There's a couple of those over here as well. I got a bunch of random parts for that. Brake caliper tool. Some punches, some drill bits. Down here is all my air tools and electric tools. I got a bunch of those. I got the air chisel, a drill, cordless drill. I used to use the pneumatic tools quite a bit, you know, 1/2 inch impacted, 3/8 impact, until I found out about this new Milwaukee stuff, and it's awesome. So I use this 1/2 inch fuel every day, taking wheels off and everything. I use the 3/8 one quite a bit now. So those kind of replaced my pneumatic tools. In fact, I have a brand new IR impact gun still in the box because I got it the same day I got that in Milwaukee. Haven't even touched it. But in here, I got a couple boxes, but I got my new torque wrenches in here. But back over here, I got a cutoff wheel, die grinder, and we got this. It's called Hub Shocker. It's a pretty awesome tool. You bolt that to the wheel studs. You bang on with a sledgehammer, it helps you get the wheel hub out. Over here, we've got this little generic scan tool. I use that quite a bit on non-Fords. And I got the Milwaukee 3/8 drive ratchet, 1/4 inch drive ratchet, and this little gun. This is probably the most used tool in this whole toolbox. I love this thing. I've had this like 6 years without a problem. And I use this 1/4 inch drive one quite a bit. And I just got this 3/8, so I've been using that a little bit as well. I got some oil filter adapters in here, some extension test leads, my test light, my flex probes for checking pins. I got a flashlight and some other things in there. And here we have a bunch of spare parts that I saved, but some of them have been here forever. Probably should just clean this drawer out. But everybody's got these kind of junk drawers. You never know when you might need a bolt or something. Same thing in here. Just a bunch of random stuff. And here I just have some papers. I got the owner's manual for the toolbox. Here I got my fuel disconnect tools, a random light, some gaskets, some Ford service manuals. Here we got a puller, power steering puller tool, some turbo sockets for some stripped lug nuts. What's in here? Oh, yeah, some stud extractors. Got another tread depth gauge, a little torch for melting stuff when I'm doing wire repairs, power steering, pulley installer. And down here is where I keep my time tickets and my calculator to add them up. So that's pretty much it for what's in this toolbox. As you can see, I still have a lot of empty space in this thing. I didn't need this box, but like I said, I got it for a good price, so I picked it up. Another thing I like a lot is this Blue Point table here, wheels on it, and you can raise it up. You can unlock that and pull it up so you can put it up higher over the hood. But I leave my my lug nut sockets on here that I use all the time, my big hammer and my pry bar set, a couple other random things. But I use this every day. You know, you can pull your tools closer to you. Makes it a lot easier to work on things. And I have my own computer. A lot of shops, they'll supply you with a computer now, but I have my own. It comes in handy, and I got a printer, printing out technical service bulletins and things of that nature. I have this random cart over here that kind of just collects junk, but I do have a couple tools down here. I got a rubber mallet, hacksaw, another puller, my coolant funnel, suction gun, and I keep a couple oil filter wrenches down there as well. So a lot of guys, they like to brag about how much they spend on tools. I'm actually the exact opposite. Like I said, I picked up this box for $1,000, and it had $1,000 worth of tools in it. So that was pretty much a no-brainer. Did I need a box this big? Not really, but the price was right, so I couldn't pass it up. But there are pretty much 4 major tool manufacturers that technicians use, and they actually have tool trucks that come around each week, 1 day a week, each tool truck, and they basically try to sell you tools. So there's Matco, Mac, Snap-on, and Cornwell. Now, fortunately, we have one of each of those representatives come to our shop once a week, and they usually have sale flyers, so I usually leaf through those. But what's nice is they sell used tools. So that's the first place I go, is I check the used tools, because all those companies offer lifetime warranties. So if you can get one of their used tools that breaks, they'll replace it to get a brand new one. And they're usually half the price of retail. But you know, their job is to sell you tools, just like our job is to sell people parts on their cars they need and things like that. And unfortunately, there are some tool company guys that will try to take advantage of you. Now, most of these guys are nice, hard-working guys. They're just trying to make a living like we are. But some of them are out to get you, which doesn't really make sense to me, because they'll get you once, but then they lose a customer. If they treat you right, you know, they'll have a customer for life, and they always come out with new tools and stuff. You're going to keep buying them, keep them in business. So, you know, like, they are pretty good guys, just trying to make a living like we are. So basically how it works is you can set up a truck account where you just pay the tool rep directly. And you can do that up to, I think, like $1,500 you can have on a truck account. There's no interest. You just make a weekly payment, you know, whatever you guys decide, every week until your tools are paid off. But if you want to spend more money on a truck, which they'll be more than happy to let you do, you have to fill out a credit app, and you're basically getting financed through the tool company itself. Now, the interest rate on that can be upwards of 30%. So I try not to do that, you know, but some guys, they don't really have a means to go out and pay cash for tools, so they have to do that. So when I first started out, when I bought that black Matco box that I showed you earlier, I basically had a tool payment every week, and then I got a toolbox payment on top of that. So that was, I was spending like $200 a month just on tools and a toolbox, which wasn't that awesome because I wasn't making a ton of money. But nobody was really directing me at that time, like, hey, you probably don't need this big of a box, or, you know, just save some money up and pay cash for one, used or whatever, like I did with this one. But that's why I'm trying to help you guys out. So toolboxes don't make you money. Now, they look cool, and you want to have a nice looking toolbox. Your buddy's got a huge toolbox, you want to be like him, but don't do that. Just buy a big enough box, will hold your tools you have now, and then if you decide to buy a bunch of tools later you need to upgrade, You can save a ton of money by buying a used one. Now, like I said, I'm not saying don't buy one off the truck. If that's the only way you can do it, those guys are, you know, good guys trying to make a living. They'd be more than happy to sell you a box. Sometimes they have some scratch and dent ones like the one I got, and that saved me a bunch of money as well. But the used market, you could save thousands and thousands of dollars. So that's where I go first. Fortunately, I usually have some cash laying around. I can afford to do that. But like I said, sometimes you're going to finance stuff, and that's cool too. So I was going to mention this box here. I actually found this box the same day I bought this box. Customer actually called here, said he was getting out of the business. He had this toolbox with the snap-on starter set, which typically you guys could get when you're in tech school. The snap-on will give you a good deal on a bunch of stuff to get you started. So this box had that snap-on starter set, which had 3 or 4 snap-on socket sets, a couple of ratchets, but the big thing was it had a Blue Point multimeter, which is like Snap-on's a little bit cheaper brand, Blue Point, and that meter was 450 bucks. So I bought that box with all those tools in it, which were about $2,000 worth of tools, for 400 bucks. So, you know, that was, again, no-brainer. I just was fortunate enough to have $400 that I could spend on that. Same day, I was just looking around on Craigslist, found this box, $1,000, you know, couldn't pass it up. So now everything's obviously more expensive. I bought this stuff like 15 years ago, but there's still deals to be had if you have cash. So that's what I try to do. I always look at used stuff on the truck. I look at used stuff online. I bought some tools on eBay. You know, wherever I can get a deal, pretty frugal when it comes to buying tools. So that's pretty much my advice for someone getting into this field. You know, you don't have to go all in and spend thousands of dollars your first week. You know, you can work your way up. Most techs understand that you're new in the business. I'll let you borrow tools. I've lent out lots of tools to a lot of new guys. You know, I have a couple duplicates. I have a couple half-inch impact guns, you know, socket sets, things like that. I try to help guys out. And if you return the tools when you borrow, people will usually be more than happy to let you borrow them until you can afford your own. General rule of thumb is if you borrow the same tool 3 times off a guy, you should go out and buy it. You know, over a short period of time, honestly, if it's 3 times in 2 years, not that big a deal. But some guys are super cool about borrowing tools, some guys not so much, but you'll feel that out, you know, once you get in the shop. So that's pretty much it for the look of, you know, my tool collection. Like I said, I have a bunch of tools, but I don't have a bunch of money. I mean, I collected these over 21 years. I mean, of course, you know, I've got probably $10,000 to $15,000 of money that I spent, but I probably have $50,000 or $60,000 worth of tools in my possession. And you know, I buy tools every couple months. Something will come out, or I'll break something, or there'll be a nicer version of a tool. So it's kind of a non-stop cycle. Once you're in this business, you're pretty much buying tools until you retire. Some shops do now have built-in toolboxes in the wall. Makes it look a lot nicer. So you may not even have to buy a toolbox if you get into one of those shops, but most shops do require you to have all of your own tools. Another thing people ask me questions about is, what are all these red cases? Now, these are our Ford special tools. These are proprietary tools for Ford vehicles only. So we have tons of these, and some of them date back to the 70s. As you can see, some of the cases are newer, you know, because they come out with new stuff all the time. But you can see some of these cases are super dusty. They haven't been used pretty much forever. So our tools aren't super organized. So sometimes I just, you know, do a little makeshift tool with a pry bar or a punch or, you know, a socket. But there are special tools pretty much for everything. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I hope you guys did learn something. You know, I hate to see younger guys come into a shop and go into a bunch of debt, and then they're worried about, you know, living, basically buying lunch and, you know, paying car payments when they got all this money tied up in tool payments, and they will repo your stuff. You know, if you're not making your payments, stuff will get repoed, and, you know, that's where they get some used stuff on the truck. You know, you can get a repoed box, and that's unfortunate. That happens, but like I said, people get into a lot of debt and nobody really steers them in the right direction. So I'm hoping this video will help steer you guys in the right direction if you get into this business, so you can realize you don't have to spend $1 million the first 2 weeks in the shop. So thanks for checking out my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. Check out my new Facebook page. And I did recently get some merchandise on teespring.com. So if you want to support Pittsburgh or your favorite YouTube channel, check out teespring.com and pick up some merchandise. Have a great day.